This is Kentucky Football Nation. Thanks for watching today's video. Let's talk about Mark Stoops. The question for today's video is, should Mark Stoops be fired if he has another losing season? That's a complicated answer, as I think all of you know that follow Kentucky football. First of all, his buyout is like $44 million. He has 5 years left on his contract and he makes $9 million a year. So I don't think we can fire him. If he has another losing season, maybe he'll make a deal where he just steps away and gets some money. But I think the real question, before we talk about firing Mark Stoops, I think we have to look at, where we're at right now, where we're going in the future, but I think we have to start back farther in the past. Let's talk about the past. I'm approaching 60. So let's start in the 1980s. And for all you younger fans that are watching this, let's talk about how bad Kentucky football. You think it's bad now? It was a lot worse. In the 1980s, we had a guy named Jerry Claiborne, who was he was a decent coach. He came from Maryland, older guy, Kentucky boy, came in. We went to 9-3 in '84. We won a bowl, so he went to 2 bowls in about 9 years. First season he was 0-10, and he ends up, almost 500. We still didn't have a good record in the SEC, but he retired. So after he retired, we decided we would bring in a really big name coach. And we brought in a guy named Bill Curry. For all you fans out there that remember Bill Curry, big time Alabama coach. Had a good run at Alabama, but he couldn't beat Auburn. He was 0-3. So even though he won 10 games, went to a bowl, got beat by Miami, which getting beat by the U in '89 was, not an embarrassing thing at all. So he makes the deal to come to Kentucky. So, I'm thinking, okay, great. We got Bill Curry, nice guy, smart guy, coached at Alabama. We're going to take off. No, we didn't take off. He was here from 1990 to 1996. We were awful at football. Not only did we just lose, we were getting beat 73-7 on national TV by Florida. We were getting beat, 63-0 by Tennessee. I mean, we couldn't beat Kent State. We couldn't beat anybody. It was just an awful time. I'm in Southern Indiana, and the 2 worst Division I football teams in the '90s were Kentucky and Indiana, and we played them every year, and it was awful to watch that game. Now, he did beat Louisville, and we'll talk about the Louisville series in another video because that's probably going away. But it did not go well at all. So at that point, I'm in my 20s. I'm thinking, man, this is awful. We're winning national championships in basketball, and we can't win any football games. So you couldn't even use football. Like now, you can sort of use football to bridge to basketball if you wanted to. You couldn't even do that. It was so awful. You just had to turn it off. And then in '96, we hired a guy named Hal Mumme. Now, I liked Hal Mumme. He was 20-25. We beat Alabama. We were exciting. He came in with the air raid, which no one had ever saw before because he came from Valdosta State, Division II. C.M. Newton, our athletic director, smartly picked an up-and-coming coach out of Division II after we just got rid of somebody, Bill Curry, who was a big name. And at first, it paid off. We got Tim Couch. The air raid took off, but the guy cheated. And cheated blatantly. So we get caught cheating. I'm not going to go into it, but he has his staff sending money orders, from what I understand, from Lexington post office to players. Okay, pretty stupid. So he gets fired. But it was exciting to watch. At least it was watchable, and it was exciting, and we were throwing the ball. Nobody was throwing the ball 40 times, and we just beat the crap out of Louisville. I mean, 63-20. We beat them first game. His very first game, 35-27. Then we beat him 63-20 or something. So anyway, very exciting brand of football. But when you cheat, you screwed that all up, and we had to get rid of him. We won't talk about Guy Morris. 2 years, Guy Morris. Let's go to the 2000s. There was a guy named Rich Brooks. He's close to 500. He did 7 or 8 years. We went to 4 straight bowl games, and we won 3 out of 4. We beat Clemson. We beat Florida State. Then we get to Rich Brooks. We're still, once again, Hal Mumme was 10-22 in the SEC. Rich Brooks didn't have a good SEC record. Bill Curry, all the people I'm talking about, can't win in the SEC. But Rich Brooks did beat #1 ranked LSU when they won the national championship. We did beat them at home. We did beat Louisville, because at that point, the Louisville series goes in spurts of, we win 4 or 5. Then they were on their 4 or 5 run, and he broke it because they were starting to beat us. I don't know, 4 or 5, at least 5 times in a row. I think they beat us there. Guy Morris may have gotten 1. I think Guy Morris got 1 out of that. But Rich Brooks did a decent job, but we just, we cannot win in the SEC. So he retires. The next guy is just as bad as Bill Curry. It was Joker Phillips. We ain't going to talk about him very long. 2 seasons, awful. I mean, just a good coordinator. Played at Kentucky. You got to give him his props. I'm sure he's a good recruiter, but as a head coach, we were awful. And his last home game, we got beat 40-0 by Vanderbilt. So what I'm trying to say is, in the past, before we get to Mark Stoops, this is what we were dealing with as fans. I mean, if we went to any bowl game, if we won 6 games, good God, I never thought in my lifetime we'd ever win 9 or 10 games, especially when we went to, 7 SEC games or 8 SEC games. I thought there's no way. But then along comes Mark Stoops. So I know the name. He's Florida State defensive coordinator. Okay, they just were coming off a great, 1 or 2 seasons, so we get him. And I'm thinking, okay, great. And he starts off slow, but he starts to build us up, slowly build us up. His record, I think, is right now is 67-73. We had to forfeit 10 games because of an illegal player, because we had a player they were clocking in at the Kentucky, whatever, University of Kentucky hospital, who wasn't working, and they were clocking the running back in, and he wasn't working, and he got caught. So Mark Stoops had to forfeit 10 games, or he'd actually have a winning season, a winning record, where he's close right now. Now, he's done something in 12 seasons. We went to 8 or 9 straight bowls. I think it is actually 8. 8 of the last 9 years we went to a bowl game. We were 4-4. We beat Penn State, we beat Iowa, Virginia Tech. So we didn't beat a bunch of powder puffs in the Pop-Tart Bowl. We actually did some good things. Won 10 games in the SEC 3 times. He's been 4-4 twice, and he's been 5-3. I mean, nobody since Bear Bryant, I didn't go through the 60s and 70s, nobody since Bear Bryant has done anything like what Mark Stoops has done. But the best thing he did is he started winning 7. I mean, I actually turned a game on and think, oh my God, unless it was Tennessee, I never think we're going to beat Tennessee. But other than that, shout out to Sports Talk Jay, because I like your channel, Sports Talk Jay. We're never going to beat Tennessee. But, we had a chance. We started beating South Carolina. We started beating Florida. It's like, wow, man, this is great, But I think we got a little bit spoiled in that, okay, we started getting 6. You start getting 6 wins, 7 wins, 9, 10. You want to keep doing that. The problem is maintaining that. I mean, then we add 2 schools in the SEC. And we didn't add Virginia Tech or East Carolina. No, they added Texas and Oklahoma. And now we end up playing Texas. I don't know about this year's schedule. We're playing the same exact schedule. So we're playing Texas again. So if you want to look, we went 4-8 last year. Okay, it was disappointing. We're not going to get into all. Everybody knows what happened. He lost the locker room. He really lost control of the teams. Sometimes I don't understand. I think he gives players way too much rope. I think he realized that. We're going to talk about that in spring practice. I'm going to make a video on all of that where he talked about changing the culture. But it really starts with, you're going to have to start being a disciplinarian and hold the players accountable. But we'll get into all that. But, it hasn't been easy. It's been, really bad. We keep changing, Liam Cohen, that guy, Liam Cohen is now head coach in the NFL, but he left, he left us, and we had to get an offensive coordinator at the last minute. And I like Bush Hamden. I don't know if he's any good because he doesn't have his own players. This year he does. But yeah, okay, so we had a rough year. We had a rough year. We had a quarterback who we thought could be a starter in the SEC, and then you find out, no, he cannot. So, this is where we're at. This year upcoming, and we're going to go over the schedule. I saw today on 247 Sports and a couple other, sports network, CBS Network, CBS Sports online, that our schedule is the fourth hardest in the SEC. So only Mississippi State, Oklahoma, and somebody else has a harder schedule than we have at Kentucky. Okay, so if we're fourth hardest in the SEC, we're probably top 10 or 15, and obviously in the country. So, it just comes down to perspective. What do you want? Just put down in the comments. What do you think our record is going to be this year if you look at the schedule? I mean, we're playing Texas, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Louisville. Louisville's good now. So, we're going to have to really buckle down. For me, if we go 6-6 or 7-5, man, that would be great. But there's a lot of people that's not going to accept 6-6 again. And if we are under 500, they're not going to accept it at all. What do you think? If we're 5-7, should we get rid of them? Should we just try and buy them out? Because shout out to Matt Jones, Kentucky Sports Radio. He always says that he doesn't think it can get any better than this. And I sort of, I don't want to think that, but in my heart, I don't know if we could get any better than what we are right now. I mean, who could we hire? Let's say he leaves now, or after next year. Who are we going to hire? That's going to do better than he has. Are we going to spend a lot of money on a big name coach, or are we going to go after somebody in Division II? I mean, who's going to come into the SEC with the NIL money that we have? Because we're behind in NIL. I mean, Indiana. I live in Southern Indiana. Indiana's ahead of us in NIL money. Okay. So you can say, okay, that's too bad or whatever. But for me, I think it's getting too hard to be good in two sports. If you want to try and win in two different sports with NIL, I just don't know. There's not going to be very many schools that's going to have the resources to do that. Look, we're always going to try and win at basketball. People, I'm one of the few people, and you might be too if you're watching this video. I love football as much as I love basketball. So for me, it's equal. But for most people, no, it's basketball, and then they'll watch football, and if we're good, they'll watch it. If not, they'll turn it off. So look, we're always going to try and be good in basketball with Mark Pope. Shout out to Mark Pope having a good year. But I just don't know who we would even try and get. I don't know what that person would do with the NIL money. With the teams we're going to have to play and compete with, Texas A&M, Texas, all oil money there. And look, I'm not trying to make excuses. Our high school player situation. We have to go recruit from Ohio and other places, which Mark Stoops has done a good job of going north of here instead of south. Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania. So he's done a very good job. We're going to talk about the people we brought in this year. I think we are going to have a better offensive line. We're going to talk about that. We did pick up in the portal. I thought we did a really good job for the money that we spent. It's just what will it take to please you with Mark Stoops? What does he have to do to make you say, hey, I think he deserves another year? I think if we go 6-6, that's pretty good looking at our schedule. There just aren't very many easy games. And we're going to talk about, now we're going to change the format. We're going to go to 9 games, 9 SEC games with a Big Ten game. It looks like that's going to happen. Then you're going to have to drop Louisville. We'll talk about that in the next video. But if you like this video, please like and subscribe. There are a lot of basketball channels, but I love Kentucky football. That's why I'm doing this channel. I want your opinion on what do you think of Mark Stoops? Is he good? Is it time for him to go? Are we at the Calipari stage where we just gotta say, okay, look, you've gone as far as you can go? I don't think so. I don't think he's anything like John Calipari. I like it. I like it as a temper. At least he takes responsibility. He comes out there and says it's his fault, which, okay, he makes a lot of money. Of course, you're going to say that, you might say, but still. So next video, we're going to make a video about Louisville, and we'll do spring practice, and we'll go over portal players and the schedule and stuff like that. So once again, if you like the video, Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.